restriction, one of my all-time favorite great health strategies. This is from, this was published yesterday, May 22nd, Monday. This is from Duke University. Study analysis shows cutting calories might slow biological aging. This is something I talk about a lot, following on the heels of another article that came out on earlier this month, May 2nd, How Calorie Restriction May Prolong Life. This is from the International Union of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, which is a very highly respected scientific journal. When the body does not have enough sugar for energy, it burns fats, resulting in a buildup of what are called ketone bodies. Now, we've talked about the ketogenic diet in the past. The ketogenic diet is a diet that helps the body produce ketones. Ketones are like little nuclear bombs of energy. Body can burn a couple of things for energy. Number one, it burns sugar for energy, but sugar is not really an efficient way to get energy. It's a good way to get quick energy, but it's not good for long-term energy. For long-term energy, you want to burn fat, and the little nuggets of energy that are found in fat are called ketones. The ketogenic diet is a diet that helps the body generate ketones, and it's a high-fat, low-calorie diet. It's a combination of high-fat and low-calorie, and this is really the key. A ketogenic diet was actually started back in was developed at the turn of the 20th century to mimic fasting. So there's a lot of connection between ketogenesis, the production of ketones, and low-calorie, calorie restriction, or even, if you like, fasting. One more article, and then we'll get into some of the ideas about calorie restriction and how it works to promote longevity. This is from New Scientist magazine. Permanent diet extends primates' lives by years. This was a long-running trial done on macaques, which is a type of monkey, that found that calorie restriction found that allowed these monkeys to live 3 years longer, which equates to 9 years longer in people. We all want to live longer. We all want longevity. But we don't just want to live longer. We don't just want longevity. We want longevity with energy, longevity with vim and vigor, longevity with this sense of bounding out of bed in the morning and feeling great about our lives. And this is where calorie restriction comes in. You know, we live in an empire of food, John T. We are induced by the empire to eat. All the great empires throughout history have always been empires of food. The Chinese Empire, the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, the Sumerian Empire, the British Empire, the United States Empire. There's always been this connection between empires and foods, and great wealth is created by people eating a lot. Problem is, the human body was designed not to eat a lot, but to eat very little and to eat nutrient dense. And there is the key to calorie restriction. Number one, calories represent heat. The more heat you put in the body, the more work the body has to do to cool itself down. And this costs nutrition, and this costs energy, and ultimately it costs us years on our lives. Secondly, calories induce inflammation. Every time we eat, an inflammatory response is stimulated or activated. The body goes into a protective mode. Inflammation is protection. And the body goes into a protective mode every time we eat. And I'm talking eating salads or eating quality fish or quality meat or eating good food. It doesn't have to be eating junk food. Now, if you eat junk food, the inflammatory response is amplified even more. But any kind of food that enters into the body is going to jack up the immune system. It's going to induce a protective response. And this, too, will have a negative impact on longevity. The third element to calorie restriction is it stimulates the production, it stimulates the activation of fat burning. The less calories you eat, the more likely you're going to be to burn body fat for energy and produce ketones for energy. Ketones are not only associated with longevity, they're associated with fighting cancer, they're associated with stabilizing blood sugar, they're associated with mental health, brain health issues. Pretty much every marker you can think of when it comes to health is activated by the ketogenic diet, by calorie restriction, and also by intermittent fasting. Why is this important? Well, it's cheap, it's free, it's something we can all do ourselves. We all eat way more than we need to be eating, including myself, and there's reasons for this. The body is hardwired to find calories for eons. For literally hundreds of thousands and millions of years, our problem was not too much calories, it was too little calories. So we get great reward from ingesting calories, and we get even greater reward from ingesting energy-dense or calorie-dense foods. And what have we done over the last 150 years? We've perfected the art of densifying calories. Soda pop and desserts and power bars and processed foods of all kind are high technology foods that take advantage of our ability to squish a lot of calories into a small amount of food. Now, if we just ate a little nugget of our power bar, that would be one thing, but most of us are eating the whole power bar. Even things like fruits, watermelon and apples and pears and plums have been genetically modified over the course of 1,000, 2,000 years to be super high energy dense. So when we eat a whole banana today, we're getting many times the caloric intake that our ancestors got when they ate a little tiny plantain or a little tiny banana. You ever seen little crab apples?
Yeah, I've eaten
compare them to a big apple and compare them to a big apple. They're not very sweet, right?
Sure.
They're kind of tart, and they don't have a lot of sugar in them. But over the course of 1,000 years, 2,000 years, we figured out how to turn that crab apple into a big, fat, red, juicy apple that, while it may have some nutritional value, also has a lot of calories. The bottom line here is calorie restriction leads to longevity. Calorie restriction is anti-inflammatory. Calorie restriction supports the body's ability to burn fat for energy, to produce ketones, which are super high energy compounds important for the brain, for the blood sugar system, for the immune system, as well as for longevity. Calorie restriction is cheap. What you got to do, however, because we're hardwired to look for calories, what we got to do is we got to learn to put our attention into our body and away from our brain. And this is really important. A lot of times when we think that we want to eat, we're really eating from here. We're not eating from the body. In fact, a lot of times the body's begging us not to eat, but we still mentally, because of the hardwiring, because of our brain, we're still going for the food. It's like, you ever feel full after a meal and then somebody brings some cherry pie or some apple pie, and all of a sudden you got room for the apple pie. Now, you may pay the price a few hours later because you really didn't have room for the apple pie, but the fact of the matter is that the brain sees those high calories, and that represents survival, and that represents something that the brain wants. That food represents something that the brain wants inside the body. But by placing our attention not just in our body, but in our intestine area, in the center of our body, many times we can bypass the craving that is not a physiologic craving and not based on a need, but based more on our brain's desire for, or our brain's drive for survival. Focus on the bottom, focus on your belly, focus on the center of your body, and you'll find that your cravings are less. You'll find that you're eating less food as well. Another thing that you can do, and this is really important, is supplement. Taking supplements or using nutritional supplements is a way of putting nutrition in the body without calories. Many times when we want to eat or we think we want to eat, it's because our brain is sensing low nutrition. Our brain is sensing a drop in the B vitamins or a drop in the electrolytes or a drop in essential fats, and the only way it knows to go get those nutrients is by sending the person, us, out for food. By using nutritional supplements, you can pack nutrients inside the body. The brain or the blood will have more nutrition in it, and when the brain reads the blood, it'll say, "Oh, you're satisfied," and the drive for sweet foods or high-calorie foods or caloric-dense foods will be diminished. So you got lots of strategies. Use nutritional supplementation. Focus on the bottom of your belly. Drink more water. That's another great way to enjoy calorie restriction. Water fills you up. Water dilutes your blood, so you get energy. The brain gets more blood, has a higher blood supply when the blood is diluted with water, so drinking water can help. Eating fiber with your meals or eating fiber between meals. That's another way to enjoy the beverage, to leverage the benefits, enjoy the benefits of calorie restriction.
Sounds great, Ben. I know personally when I have a craving and I find myself in the kitchen thinking I'm hungry, I often will grab a glass of water and put a little piece of lemon in it.
Right. That's very satisfying. Notice sometimes an hour and a half
goes by and I don't need to eat.
Notice sometimes when you have a choice between a high-calorie food and a less-calorie food, like maybe even a piece of fish or bread or sweets or something, notice how you're always going to go, if you go on default, if you kick in default mode, you're always going to go for the high-calorie food. So it requires a little brain power, but you'll find that you're just as satisfied from a steak or a glass of water with lemon or some ground-up flax seeds in water. You'll find you're just as satisfied from a physiologic perspective from those nutritional low-calorie foods as you are from the high-calorie default foods that we tend to go for.